Okay, good evening. I'm Jim Williams, HurricaneCity.com, and I'm with Bill Phillips tonight. Good evening, Bill.
Good evening. Night two of coverage, and this is a slow, painful process, but it's starting to get underway. Here we go.
Yeah, and what's concerning me is, it's slowing down now, and it looks like it's gathering a little intensity. Now, that's
Trying.
debatable. It's debatable because of the fact that the radar doesn't look as impressive as the satellite does. All the convection is now on the west side, and the eye is open on the east side. And
And it was reversed last night. It's strange.
well, yeah, last night it was completely collapsing, and now it's trying to make a little bit of a comeback. Now it's sitting in the Gulf Stream waters, so it's got the warm waters that are deep below the surface. Where the upwelling, when a hurricane sits in one place, it spins, boils up all the water from underneath, and it's called upwelling. And if you have warm water below, it's just bringing warm water to the surface and allowing it to continue to strengthen. If it hits the cold water shelf, then the cold water comes up and it weakens the hurricane. Right now it's over the Gulf Stream, so it's got plenty of warm water to deal with.
Think of, and I know this is morbid, but it's a good analogy. Think of a condemned inmate having his last meal before death.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's what this hurricane is getting. It's going to have two things that are going to kill it. And I use that term loosely. It's not going to just go away that rapidly.
Yeah, they're taking away her water.
You're going to take away its food, and the combination of colder shelf water may act to weaken it, and then land will weaken it once it gets inland. That's the death nail.
But the question remains, when is this going to happen? And we'll show you the HurTrack program in a minute, of the position by position as it goes through the night. But if it sits offshore, like right now it's only moving about 5 miles an hour, if this thing just sits right off of Wilmington, between Wilmington and Morehead City right now, in fact, Morehead City, we just show you that cam shot. They're getting the worst of it right now. But if it just sits there...
They've been getting their ass kicked all day.
I didn't hear you. What was that?
You said Morehead's been getting its ass kicked all day.
Oh, yeah. And the webcams, a lot of them are going down right now, and I assume that more of them are going to go down overnight because I guess you heard about the fact that they're shutting a lot of these nuclear power plants down, and that's going to cause widespread power outages. And a lot of these cameras, they might be running on battery or generator, but I don't know how long they're going to hold up.
PM, we're back down to 100. It was at 105 at 6 and 7. This thing is oscillating. Strange. 956 millibars northwest at 5 miles an hour. I have an electric wheelchair. It goes 6. My chair can move faster than this hurricane at the moment in its forward speed. It's crawling to the coast.
Right. Well, your chair goes more than 5 miles an hour, doesn't it?
6.
6? That's it? I thought that thing... Now, wait a minute. Hold on a minute. The first time I ever met you, and I picked you up at the airport, that chair was doing 20 miles an hour, and you almost like clocked into this woman's luggage, and it went flying everywhere. I'll never forget that. But that chair was flying, man. You had to be doing about 20 in that thing.
Nah.
No? It only goes 6 miles an hour, huh?
No. I mean, it doesn't feel like it when you're riding it, but yeah, it's got speedometer and all. 6, that's it. I wish it did go faster, and maybe I wouldn't have to cringe every time I cross the boulevard.
So if you were like in this hurricane and you were stuck in the eye, and then you started hauling ass like to stay in the center of the eye, and then your battery ran dead on your chair, then the back eye wall would just come and kill you.
Catch me.
That's hysterical, man. All right. Let's try to share one more time. It's driving me bananas. It's still
There's the
this is the camera. Why is it showing the camera? That's not what I chose.
All right. While Jim does that, one thing I want to emphasize tonight is just because This is a Category 2, maybe weakening down to a Category 1 at some point. The damage is done. A major wall of water is in process of moving into the coast. The storm surge, still looking at not probably 9 to 10 feet, which is still very significant.
It looks like that camera cleared up a little bit. Do you see that?
Much better.
Yeah, this is the Morehead City camera. I mean, it is whipping out there right now. Those winds have to be hitting about 65, 70 miles an hour. When you see that rain going completely horizontal, you got some high winds there.
I've been in 60-mile-an-hour winds with the rain hitting you. It feels like needles when it hits your face. It hurts.
Exactly. Yeah, it feels like somebody's throwing pellets at you. It stings. Your eyes are stinging. It's miserable if you're facing it.
Really not comfortable. You got to have it. You got to have a. I had a when I was on the beach for Sandy. I had a helmet to keep it away, keep some of it away from me so I could drive the chair.
Right.
It hurt.
Are you seeing my desktop right now? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I got that.
Yeah, this is kind of a cool shot. Actually, I want to show this for a minute. This is Hurricane Florence, obviously off North Carolina, but this is what you get with the HurTrack program. It allows you to use your desktop as a satellite. So I have all my icons over there, of course, and it goes out to the Caribbean. But notice in the lower right-hand corner down there is Tropical Storm Isaac. And
still very weak on the east.
When I talk about the bat look, I always like to discuss, what I'm talking about, and just like that. That's the bat look. That's what I was trying to draw. That's what I was trying to draw last night on the show, and I couldn't do it because it was an enhanced satellite image, and it doesn't show up as well on a satellite image. But it looks like a bat. And we see this is so common in systems coming in from the south to the north, especially in the Gulf of Mexico. They ingest dry air, and it gets wrapped into the circulation, and then it chops like the neck off. Like if you're looking at that like little bulge I have in the red area there, that's like the head of the hurricane, and it chops the neck off. It's like the dry air is just chopped off the backside of the eye wall, like it doesn't have a neck anymore.
Or here's another analogy. Southwesterly shear or continental dry air, they both act kind of a almost like a boa constrictor choking it off on one side. I mean, because think about it, the landmass is cutting off the water on one side. As it approaches, it's cutting off its food.
Notice the blob to the west. The whites are starting to disappear, and the eye still has not reemerged. Look at the eye is filled, and it
fried.
It gave it its best shot, but I think it's running out of time now because it's in the Gulf Stream, and it's going to start moving out of the Gulf Stream here and get away from that warm water.
Yep.
That is the current predictive radar from the North American Mesoscale. This is what it'll look like at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then, is it going by the hour? No, this is 8 a.m. This is skipping every 3 hours. That's what this is. Okay, so this is 8 a.m. This is 11 a.m. The eye is moving onshore. This is 2 p.m. Yeah, 2 p.m. Just making sure it's doing 3 hours. Okay. This is 5 p.m. tomorrow. So they're still getting the strong feeder bands on the right quadrant coming into Morehead City, Topsail, Wilmington. There's going to be really, really bad surge and erosion because of the prolonged onshore flow here.
You're going to have like 2 or 3 tide cycles, maybe 4, if this thing doesn't get out of here.
Yeah. Okay,
that's
here we are
really a problem.
Here we are going into Saturday morning. I mean, this is tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Then we go to Saturday morning. The eye is on shore. I mean, Sunday morning, I'm sorry. No, Saturday. South. This is Saturday morning, 2 a.m.
Moving south, looks like.
And that's it. That's as far out as it goes. So let's loop it again.
There it is.
There it is on late Saturday night, right in that position, right near Wilmington. That's the predictive radar from the NAM. I'm kind of putting the brakes on this thing. And so the NAM kind of nailed it. The 250 millibar NAM did a pretty good job on this. And the climate and persistence model did a good job on the intensity of this. It kept it right up around 100 miles an hour. And then it has it lowering to Cat 1 right before landfall. And the other models
That
had
could
it as a
happen.
Category 3 at landfall. So here we go. This is 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, and the eye is just coming on shore. Winds are 100 miles per hour. And let's go to the next position. 9 miles, 5 miles, 3 miles. The closest approach to Wilmington, 3 nautical miles to the north of Wilmington at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. So that's when the eye would be right over Wilmington at 11 a.m. right in the middle of the day. That's the way you want it. If you're stuck being in a hurricane, you want it in the middle of the day so that you're
At
not
least you got
scared
a
to death.
chance. At least you'll see something.
Exactly. You don't want to be in the middle of the night, things hitting your house, you don't know what's happening outside. It's kind of scary. So this is going to happen in the daylight all day tomorrow. But the eye will be over Wilmington at 11 a.m. tomorrow with winds of 100. Actually, it's 95 miles an hour at this point. It'll be Category 1. And then we go into the afternoon here. We go 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Winds are now
Sliding
down to
south.
85 miles per hour. And then we get
Sliding
to
south.
5 p.m. We're at 75 miles an hour. Right near Myrtle Beach at this point. The eye doesn't quite make it into Myrtle Beach, but then it becomes a tropical storm right near Myrtle Beach. And it's 60-mile-an-hour winds at midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Then we're getting into Saturday, 8 o'clock in the morning. It begins to pull away from the coast, go inland as a tropical depression, and then it's over. And here we go. Here is the impact report for Wilmington, North Carolina. Then you see this gap here. That's the eye passing right over Wilmington. There's no winds at all, or at least very calm winds. And then at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the backside comes in, and we have winds dropping off here steadily, gust to 100, gust to 80, and then by 6 p.m. tomorrow night, the gust will be still hurricane force. They won't get rid of those hurricane force gusts in Wilmington until like probably 11 p.m. tomorrow night.
17 hours. Oh.
Not only that, but look at the rainfall. Wilmington here, here's our gust, 98 to 119 miles per hour. And we have, and by the way, that's trending down. They give a trend whether they expect the winds to increase or decrease. It's trending down as of 5 p.m., so they're expecting maybe a little less than that. We're
I can see
expecting
that.
moderate damage. Rain, 27.47 inches. That's how much rain they're expecting in Wilmington, 27.47 inches of rain.
You get that, that's catastrophic.
Yeah, it is. So, you know who's really getting the hurricane force winds right now? Look at Morehead City, man. They're getting hammered right now.
Moorhead's been hammered all damn day.
Yeah, Morehead's really taking a hit. It is really blowing there, boy. And if you're, whatever house you're in, you're feeling it right now. If you're there.
It's loud. It's unnerving. How do
Look
you?
at that. The rain isn't even, it's like it's not even hitting the ground. It's just going from left to right. It's not even, there's no downward motion whatsoever.
Blizzard conditions, but it's rain.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
this looks like.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, looks like a blizzard.
I mean, it's not. Maybe that's a poor.
At times you see the rain actually going up. That's crazy. Morehead City area. This is a Seaman station. East-northeast at 71 knots, gusting to 84. Wow.
That is hurricane force, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. That's 75 to 95 mile an hour winds, or 75 to 90 mile an hour winds.
And imagine that they're going to get that for the next 24 hours.
Let's look at this. Okay, here's a station 42 gusting to 97. Wow.
97 knots.
That's what they're saying. That's like right where the hurricane is, though. I mean, that's pretty much like where it is right now.
If you're seeing 97 knots, I could see them justifying leaving it at 100 now.
Let's
That's
look at this
category
buoy
3
down here.
gust.
Yeah, that's legit because this buoy to the southwest of there is 44 knots, gusting to 70 knots. That's 80 miles an hour. And that's right off that coast of Wilmington. Now let's go right off the coast of Wilmington. Here we are. Waves 9 feet, and there's no wind measurement there.
Jim, based on that, I would leave the intensity alone at 11 o'clock.
Well, it's not up to me.
I'm just saying what I would do. That's enough for me to leave it alone.
Yeah.
But I don't get paid to make it.
All right, let me get on the phone to NHC. Yeah, NHC. Uh-huh. Let me speak to Stacy. Uh-huh. Yeah, Stacy. Up it. Bill just said to go ahead and up it. What do you mean you're watching? You're watching the broadcast? You didn't hear him say that, huh? No, Bill was saying to keep it the same. Okay. All right, you do it at 11, right? Okay. All right, thanks. Bye. All right, I just updated it with NHC.
That was a joke, guys. That was a joke.
Well, you said that they should do that, so, I mean, that's it. That's official. No, it'll be interesting at 11 to see what they do with this now. That disappeared, so now they're getting in residual. This is probably 70-mile-an-hour winds you're looking at there. Some gust to hurricane force from moment to moment. Good evening. Good morning, everybody. It's been a long night. A lot of people are getting buffeted on the North Carolina coastline. We are here this morning starting our hurricane warning coverage at 6 a.m. I'm Jim Williams. It's almost 6 a.m. I'm Jim Williams, HurricaneCity.com. We're going to be with you all day as the core of Hurricane Florence moves on shore. Look at that red mass of banding that's moving in just north of Wilmington. I imagine Topsail Beach, Hampstead, all those areas just north of Wilmington are absolutely getting hammered by those that westerly eye wall as it moves on shore. It's our current position of Hurricane Florence. Again, 90-mile-per-hour winds. It weakened a little bit more overnight. We thought it was going to make a comeback over the Gulf Stream. We have a solid Category 1 hurricane making landfall this morning. But don't let that category fool you. This is still going to be, that dome of water is still associated with this hurricane. It's a dome of water that's going to move in on the coast, and there's going to be storm surge flooding, probably equivalent to a Category 2, Category 3 type hurricane. Now, this is not the same animal it was. System had winds of around 120 down in this yellow area down here. So that was when it was starting to wind down from a major hurricane to, what it's been the last 24 hours or so. It's around 100 miles an hour or less in this area right in here. So the eye is right over Wilmington. This will be at 9 o'clock this morning. So in about 3 hours, that eye should be just about over Wilmington. It might take a little longer than that based on looking at the radar images there. It might take a little longer for the eye to get perfectly centered over Wilmington, North Carolina, if at all. Throughout the day on Saturday, it's moving further inland. Again, wringing itself out like a sponge. All that rain is going to fall in South Carolina, continuing in the Wilmington area. And this is just going to be a very watery hurricane. You're going to hear about a lot of surge and a lot of rain. It's going to be very bad. Let's take a look at the projected rain forecast for these areas. And again, we're talking rain here of let's see, we're talking probably 22 to 25 inches of rain in areas just north. That's where the eye is right now, actually. It's moving onshore just more north of Wilmington, or just offshore Wilmington. And these areas could, Topsail Beach, Hampstead, areas like that could see 20 to 25 inches of rain as this moves onshore. Right in here, and this is the Topsail area just north of Wilmington. And those are the areas that are getting those winds that are advertised at 90 miles an hour. And anywhere else you see just yellow or green are probably gusts to hurricane force. But the core is right here, and that's where the real high winds are that are 90 miles an hour. In that core where the red areas are and the dark oranges. And this is from Tropical Tidbits this morning, and here's our eye moving onshore. The eye popped last night in the wee hours of the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning or so. The eye made an appearance on the IR, and now it's disappeared again. So this is going to make landfall as a solid Cat 1. Here's one right near the shoreline, near Wilmington. We have wave heights 12 to 13 feet. In Wilmington, we have the Seaman Station, 43 knots, gusting to 69. So we're at about 80 mile an hour gust right now, just northeast of Wilmington. Closed eye, concentric inner and outer eye walls. So it's going through an eye wall replacement cycle, apparently. Inner eye wall diameter is 20 miles, and the outer eye diameter is 60 miles. Estimated SFMR winds, which is that little stick that sticks out the front of the airplane, the hurricane hunters, and they aim that at the ocean, and it measures the foam off the top of the ocean. That's how they can gauge the winds. And they have winds at 76 miles an hour. And those winds were measured 10 nautical miles to the east-northeast of the center. So on the right side of the storm, they measured winds of 76 miles an hour. Outbound surface winds, 78 miles an hour. And that was located 12 miles to the southwest of the center of circulation. So it's pretty evenly distributed, the winds around the eye right now. The red would be the 9-foot, which is the end of these canals and waterways, the New Bern River, the Neuse River, Pamlico Sound. All that water is going to pile up in here. The area that I'm concerned about is down here in the Jacksonville area. Let's zoom this in a little more. Here in the Jacksonville area, all that water piling up here, all that onshore flow, they're expecting, 6 feet of water piling up at the end of that waterway there heading into Jacksonville.
Might be the best part of the day, man.
Got it. Okay. Hey there.
Of course, we have flash flood warnings out. 5 to 10 inches of rain have already fallen, with potential close to 20 inches for the next 12 to 24 hours.
All right, Brian Todd's shot is taking trouble because of all this, electric activity in the air and the wind and the force. Communications are always a problem during storms. It's not necessarily a sign of distress for Brian and his team. We're checking in as often as we can. People are doing this coverage as safely as possible. Anderson Cooper is, of course, staged there in Wilmington, and they are up against it right now. Anderson, how you doing?
Chris, it has been pretty miserable here now for several hours. As you know, made landfall around 7:15 a.m. this morning. We've been getting these gusts. This town, Wilmington, has actually seen the biggest gust, the strongest gust in a hurricane that they've experienced since 1960. It's an extraordinary statistic. They've measured some 92 mile an hour wind gusts. That's not sustained wind. That's a gust, and they're coming by every now and then, blowing things around. The part of the roof came off of a part of a hotel. We've been seeing some debris. And according to the mayor, a lot of trees are down in Wilmington. He's also especially concerned about 10 communities about 10 miles or so outside of Wilmington, North Carolina. Some migrant populations about what may happen to them.
They have had hundreds of calls come in and more than 200 rescues have already taken place. They still have more to go. And as this water starts to rise in different parts of the county, they're having to see different areas as well. We actually came to this part of the county because a woman who had evacuated, she lives here in Riverbend. She was in our Hotel Anderson. She started showing us pictures of her neighbor who chose not to evacuate her house that she was sending this morning. And she was like, it's really bad there. In the emergency manager's office, the assistant there, Amber, she told us this is where I talked to the town hall manager. And at around 2 o'clock this morning, there was 4 feet of water standing on the road right next to the town hall. So this has been something that has been rising overnight, but a lot of these people here just got trapped. I talked to some neighbors here. The water at this point this morning came all the way where I'm standing up to the houses that are back there. If I can get Mad Dog to pan this way, the houses that are back there, they showed me the water line at their home this morning when the storm surge was coming in, and it reached up to the bin part, the bottom part of their door.
This is about 10 miles off the ocean is where that battleship is located. That shot we've been showing you, the bridge, is 10 miles off the coast. And there's the battleship that we've been looking at right there on the red dot on your map. And the bridge down here is the bridge they've been shooting at. So let's rotate this. Yeah, they're hanging out in this area here. And then there's the battleship.
That shot looks more elevated than that. Where are they?
No, because they're across the street. They're now. That's where they're shooting from. See
That's
that parking?
where they're at. I see it now.
There's an elevated parking area, and that's where the cameras are, right up in here. And they're just probably sitting back in here somewhere filming, or maybe further back in here.
That's beautiful there. That's a nice open air deck where nothing can hit them. That's nice.
And then the battleship is over here somewhere off to the left. So the eye is almost like right over them right now.
That thing is still right on the beach, man.
Let's zoom in on this. Storm track legend. Overlay layers. City labels. Park names. GPS location.
Down limb.
Looks like a stop sign laying there on the right here.
Yeah, you can see it laying right on the ground.
Yep.
Car driving by.
Right there's our stop sign. Those things are about 65, 75 bucks too. And they could chop your head off. And they're heavy. They probably weigh about 10 pounds.
Coming back towards the ship now.
Yeah.
There it is.
Things have calmed down a lot.
They are right in the dead calm of what's left of that eye. It's almost there's slight wrestling, but there's not much.
Yeah.
Eye of Hurricane Florence right over downtown Wilmington.
Yeah.
Very calm, very quiet. Even a bird flying around. Did you see that?
No, I was looking at one of the TVs above my head, trying to get trying to figure out, like, monitor as much as I can in case something comes in one of these other networks.
Water level and the wind got so strong up here, it literally blew the doors off of these homes, completely pushing water and wind inside these homes and up maybe another 800 feet into the street behind me. You hear the alarm going off here. Fortunately, nobody left home at these apartment buildings, but that's not the case everywhere in this town. Further up, in places we can't even get to yet, there were reports of lots of folks stranded on roofs, trapped in their homes. City workers have been out, emergency officials have been out trying to get those folks out and telling everyone else here in Newburgh, stay put from 7 a.m. today till 7 a.m. tomorrow. They don't want anyone else moving in here, and we're going to get out of this area now before the tide comes in any further. Hold on here. All right, I know. Hold on. Give me a second. Dude, I can't see anything. The wind and rain is too bad. That's fine. Yeah. Was that live? No, it's not. There's still the points are set. This is a squall. We gotta get out of here. Let's go.
Looked like a local news crew out roaming around the neighborhood. That's kind of cool. Looked like some bad flooding there too.
Looks
right along
like
the river.
I didn't want to step over his report or badmouth that woman, but as close as you are to that river, or maybe that's just flooding, I couldn't tell. You shouldn't be there.
Had 10 to 15 inches just north of Long Beach and Bolivia in southeastern North Carolina. Carolina Beach has had about almost a half a foot. But basically west of Wilmington, the Wilmington area, we had about 6 inches of rain. Topsail Beach, about 5 inches of rain. Okay, here is our current position of Hurricane Florence. You can see the red circle are hurricane force winds. The donut are the winds that are wrapped around the eye wall that you're hearing about with the winds of 80 miles per hour. The aqua circle would indicate winds up to hurricane force. There it is coming off Africa. At this point, it's out in the East Atlantic. Then it becomes a hurricane. Then it really gets its act together. That's where it gets a nice eye in it, and then it weakens a little bit. Wind shear gets a hold of it. Then it gets better organized again. It gets away from the wind shear, starts to head off to the west, and it begins to regain its eye again. Gets up to 140 mile an hour winds there. Look at the reds around the eye. Very well developed system south of Bermuda. And then it started to weaken as it approached the southeastern United States. Pretty cool video there. Okay, so that's the update at 11 a.m. 80 miles per hour moving into Wilmington, through Wilmington right now and heading towards Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Notice the winds are offshore. Notice how calm the ocean is out in here. Very smooth because that's typical of offshore winds. The winds are out of the west, probably blowing around 50 or 60. By the way, we're coming in on high tide now, so you're going to start seeing the waters rising. This is in the Wilmington area. The car's all speckled with grass and leaves and stuff. Looks like a power line laying in the water, or a phone line or something. It's like a power line. Okay, there's a current radar shot from WeatherTap of our position of Hurricane Florence right over the town of Bolivia, or Bolivia. Wait, is that Bolivia?
It's Bolivia.
Bolivia. So clearly this is not heading back out over the water. It looks like it's moving more west-southwest than southwest.
No, it's inland, and it's staying there.
Yeah. They're getting rain in 2 to 3 inches an hour just to the northwest of Long Beach and north of Holden Beach. That swath of red that we just showed you on the radar, that's about 2 to 3 inches
An
an hour. Seeing this?
Yeah.
Front doors blown open. Look at the solar panels. They held up well there.
Yeah.
Hope they have insurance. That had to be a tornado. That was definitely wasn't no 80, 90 mile an hour winds doing that. What do you think?
Had to be step 20 up to do that.
Why is there a quotation mark on the lower right-hand corner?
I don't care. The video's good.
Well, we have debris. Garbage can fell over.
Run for the hills! Oh, we're having too much fun.
Wow, 12 miles of Highway 53 are underwater as much as 7 feet between Northeast Cape Fear Bridge and Maple Hill portions of Croom Bridge. Island Creek and White Stocking roads are underwater. Major routes are closed. A significant number of primary and secondary roads are inundated. 617 buildings are flooded.
There's your storm surge right there.
Yeah. That's in northwest Cape Fear near Burgaw.
Yeah.
Wow.
Check 1 2 1 2.
near the Neuse River. Major flooding. Here's Chinquapin, if I'm even pronouncing that correctly. This is an area that has a lot of damage, a lot of flooding. If we go into this area, you can see the Neuse River. It looks like this river right here flows through. And there's a lot of flooding in this whole area, which is quite a bit inland from the coast. It's, northwest of Jacksonville. And that's the first area that's got a lot of impact. And then the next area is the Kinston area. Okay, there's Kinston. Wow, now that is, yeah, I can see where that would flood. That is, if we pan this out, that is way inland, north of Jacksonville. So there's heavy flooding there. I think that was the one that had up to 600 structures that are flooded. It's a little closer to the coast. This whole area is flooding out. Many structures in this area as well. And that is located, if we pan out, that is north of Wilmington. Area right in here, that's flooded. We have an area right in here that's flooded. We have an area over here, and then another one up in here. Like, there's 4 major areas that have had heavy flooding, where there's hundreds of structures flooded. We have people being rescued. So these are all the areas that were impacted by that eastern eye wall as it came on shore, and all that. Those bright oranges and yellows were coming in through this area right in here and just flooding the heck out of the area.
Hey, we're hearing there's a lot of places without power. There's a lot of places with trees down. Take extra precautions, of course, but let us know what's happening in your area. Silver Terra, no power, and a small tree leaning on a power line near the house.
Is that Silver Terra?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trees and a few power lines down in Parkwood Estates in Leland. Getting reports that we have, of course, no power on Oak Island. No power on Speria since last night. Mm-hmm. Myrtle Grove Road, I'm hearing there's no power there. Leland Road, Leland. Plouffe Road in Leland, no power. Trees uprooted across the corner of Sprea Drive and 42nd, just down by Osprey Landing, and there are trees crossing the roads there as well, damaged power lines. Greenfield Lake area also has damaged power lines, trees down. Just got word Pine Grove Rove has trees and power lines down too, same with Hugh McRae Park. So that's just an unscientific survey of things that we have going on in the area. So,
what station is this?
Better off you're going to be.
This is the classic.
We're giving you information, and we're definitely going to take a break so we can get.
I think it's going to be a while before we know the full extent of the damage, especially how bad the flooding is both at the coast and inland.
Nature loves hurricanes, boy. You know, birds, ducks, alligators, snakes, they all love it. They're all out roaming around, and frogs, toads.
Oh, if you want for those watching, if you want an experience with the frogs, go back to our Gonzalo coverage from Bermuda several years ago. It's fun. 3 hours, it sounded like we were sitting out on a porch with frogs.
Yep. Oh, there'll be a lot of frogs chirping when this one's done. Tonight, if you live in Wilmington tonight, especially areas north there, Topsail, who knows, Morehead City, where all that standing water is, the frogs love it, and they're all going to come out, it's going to sound like a chorus there tonight of frogs and toads.
But this is my public service warning. Watch your step otherwise when you go out right now, because a lot of the other critters that you don't want have been displaced. Snakes, alligators, all that.
Yep.
Be very careful. All right, we're back to the radio station. Here's more from Wilmington.
All right.
Could be something that gets into your house during this time. So when you're coming back, and I don't want to be alarmist or scary, but you do want to make sure that you are gentle and careful when you enter back into your house. And even now, I mean, we were just watching something on our partners with WCT where a part of a tree fell through someone's roof into like a bedroom.
Right. And we're going to go to ECT because they have suspended emergency services in Whiteville.
Okay.
Because it's dangerous. So
right.
Here we go.
Across this damage in Kings Grant County. That's near Wilmington, North Carolina. Actually, right there near the airport. Wow. Those powerful winds from Florence have knocked over trees, into homes, and on top of cars. And earlier we told you 2 people have died so far that we know of. We'll continue to look into that for you.
Because that's where you'll maximize the wind chill. But the rainfall rates will be tremendous, and flooding will be an ongoing issue for us here along the Grand Strand, okay? The conditions are so poor right now that a curfew's been instituted. 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So we got a dusk to dawn curfew here in Myrtle Beach and no emergency services. 911 is staffed, Emergency Operations Center is staffed, Police Department, Fire Department staffed, but the conditions, as you can see for yourself, are so poor. What you don't want to do is risk getting them out there on the roads where you could have flooding, where we already have down power poles, live electrical lines. You don't want them putting themselves in danger. You don't want to have to put someone in wind like this or in flooding and risk the first responders' lives in order to respond to your calls. At this point, everyone, you're on your own.
Well, this morning we were not on TV. It was the dark and raucous night at the hotel. And this wind gusting again over 60 miles an hour. Things blowing by, pieces of limbs. This is what we're seeing, a lot of shingles coming off. You see what happens when you throw it off. It just takes off like a projectile. And unfortunately, a tree has fallen on a home here in Wilmington, killing a mom and her infant. The father was transported to the hospital with injuries. So here in Wilmington, New Hanover County, this has become a deadly hurricane now with 2 fatalities, a mom and her infant.
Okay, we are back with you. We have now Tropical Storm Florence. It is now downgraded to a tropical storm in South Carolina near Myrtle Beach. Let's show you the latest on the HurTrack program. Okay, and here we go. Here is our current position from the National Hurricane Center forecast at 5 p.m. The system is located 21 nautical miles to the north of Myrtle Beach. And as we forward this through the evening tonight, west of Myrtle Beach with 60-mile-per-hour winds. And then by early morning tomorrow, we have a tropical depression moving inland in South Carolina, and there's been a lot of flooding. There's still an ongoing story. Like Bill said, we'll be back and break in if there's anything that breaks on this, but right now we're going to go ahead and terminate our live coverage of Hurricane Florence. That's about it. Thanks, Bill, for the help, and we'll be here for the next one.
All right. Have a great evening.